Hey guys, welcome back to Evony with Genghis on server 68 today. So we're going to be reviewing Leo the Third as a wall general. He is very good. I've done all the numbers on him. Let's first just look at his core stats right here. So 115, 111, 113. And I'm just going to go right to it and compare him to the top two wall generals in the game, in my opinion, which is Zach Taylor and Joseph Johnston. So I think this guy's so nice. It's not even worth it to compare him to anybody else. Plus, those are his comparative people because Leo does help out a lot with range and siege, and so do those generals. So 115, 111, 113 is what you're looking for here. And let's look at the other two candidates. So 115, 111, 113. So Leo comes out ahead in leadership and attack and falls short in defense. So advantage for Leo there. And now when we go to Taylor, 115, 111, 113. Taylor beats him in everything. Basically one less in leadership, but basically a tie. So big advantage to Taylor in that one. So gotta like Taylor coming through there, but it's not over yet. And let's look at the other comparatives. So first, let's look at his main skill. Increases in-city troop attack by 10% and siege attack by 35%. Now, one thing to keep in mind here is because it's 35%, he cannot use a siege attack book because the siege attack book is only 25%, so it's less than that skill. So he will not be able to use that book. Now, other things he has is more siege attack and trap triggering and range attack, more siege attack, more siege and range attack, and he also gets some HP and defense in there on different things as well. Just gonna join a rally here as we're waiting. I love these pumpkins, don't want to miss out on them. So Leo comes out very nice, and his total stats, they add up to, I got it all written down here, all three of those generals. So Leo comes down to all troop attack 10%. Now, before we get into the other numbers that he has, I'll just show you that it's not that great, the all 10, because Taylor does have a 6 all troop, and so does Johnson, all troop 6. So you could almost negate those. He gets the 4% advantage, but it's not too much when it comes down to it. So let's look at his other ones. Leo gets all troop 10, then he gets siege machine attack 95%, and range attack 40%. So his range attack of 40% is less than Johnston's because Johnston has 76% and Taylor has 95%. So Taylor just blows him out of the water, and basically so does Joseph Johnson, 76 to 40, much higher. Now when it comes to siege attack, Leo comes in at 95%, Taylor comes in at 35%, and Johnston comes in at 66. Now, 95 siege attack for Leo and 66 siege attack for Johnston becomes 95 to 91 for Johnston because Johnston can add the skill book that Leo cannot. But that gives Leo an advantage where he can now use a different skill book, right? So on Johnston, I'll look at my Johnston right now, the one in the game, obviously. Little joke for the adults out there. So I use this siege attack book. That opens up a slot for Leo. So Leo would still have to use this siege machine bonus range, and then he'd probably have to use mounted troop HP, and then he can kind of decide, does he want ground troop HP or does he want more archer range? I would probably go with archer range because one thing that tends to happen in this game when you're on defense is people wipe out your other troops, right? They come in, if it's early game, they come in with archers and they go after your horse. And because the archer attack has an archer range book, your archers don't start fighting in the first round of the battle. They miss 20% of the battle. So that's a big disadvantage. So, and then late game, people come in with siege attack and they wipe out your siege, and then they start to come at you with archers because they know you don't have the archer range book. So it is a big disadvantage to not have it. And I'm actually thinking of going back to archer range. My horse HP is very high, but now I don't know. With the new archer attack levels, that are the 1700s and whatnot, I don't know if anybody can afford to take off the mounted troop HP. But on the flip side of that, really, does 25% even help against 1700 archer attack? Now, I'm probably never going to face someone with 1700, but maybe I'll face someone with 1550, 1600, and that's probably not going to work out very well for me, for anybody, right? So does that 25% even matter anymore? Maybe I'd be better off because I have so many archers, because I do archer attacks in battlefield. Maybe I'd be better off just giving them more range. But then my other thinking is my archers die all the time because I send them out to attack. So sometimes they're not even there for defense. So lots of things to think about when you're deciding on books. But Leo has, he's the best siege defense general in the game, for sure. So if you're going to run many siege, you cannot go wrong with Leo. If you want to be all around defensive, go with Joseph Johnston or Zach Taylor. And I'd probably say Zach Taylor just because that people always underestimate these core stats. And Zach Taylor with the 20% on attack, I'll show you right now just for a comparison in my general rankings on the server. So right here, Enigma, if you look at his attack, $1475 on Taylor. And then if we look at other wall generals, so 1475 is what we're going to compare it to. And let's look at this guy's, only 1444, 1445, 1446. Mine should be here somewhere, 1442. Not sure, here's mine. 1454, and that's about as high as I've seen for Joseph Johnson. But I sacrificed a little bit on the horse HP for that when I cultivated. I went very high on the attack, and then the leadership I let get a little lower. So you can see the advantage that Zach Taylor has on attack over other generals. And let's look at his leadership and defense as well, because they're also very good on him. So 1446 and 1479. Let's compare that to another Joseph Johnson. And leadership 1446 and 1479 defense. So higher defense and similar leadership. And I'll just look at another one just to make sure. So 1450, 1457, those are a little higher. But as you can see, Joseph Johnson gets a little limited in those core stats. And just trying to find other, just so that, yeah. So this one got a much higher defense, 1464, but lower leadership. But basically, Johnston gets limited a little bit on those core stats compared to Taylor. So I would still say Taylor's the best. And then I would say it's a coin toss between Leo and JJ, and it just depends how you want to set yourself up. I would say that that Leo will be better to defend against siege attacks if that's what you're worried about. But that is very late game, but you got to be thinking late game now too once you start making your troops. So Leo has moved into the top 3 of wall generals. I will definitely say that, but I do not think he surpassed Taylor, and I did think he was going to. So that makes me feel a little better that they released a new general who isn't necessarily by far the best, but he competes with the other one. Genghis Service 68, like, subscribe, leave a comment.